Just to remind our viewers that the cabinet meeting, the first cabinet meeting of Modi 3.0 has just begun. The Prime Minister, along with 30 cabinet ministers of Modi 3.0, are meeting as we speak at his office cum residence on Lok Kalyan Marg in the national capital. This meeting is inside the PMO. The Prime Minister, remember, has already begun work. He's begun signing files. He's already interacted with the staff. He's already gotten to work, but this is the first cabinet meeting where a roadmap, like our reporters just told us, will be provided towards what Modi 3.0 will really look like. Aishwarya, quickly coming to you, the first 100 days, the 100 days priority of the Modi 3.0 government, will most likely be on the agenda as well, because the government hits the ground running now. Portfolios is one detail that needs to be sorted out, which I'm sure will come in the next few minutes perhaps. But the roadmap of 100 days, or rather 125 days, remember that the Prime Minister also said 25 days for youth, all of those things will have to be on the table.
Well, definitely, Shiv, because it's bird, get, set, go for the Bharatiya Janata Party and for all the ministers who will now be taking over their respective ministries. The first 100 days, very, very crucial because they want to get the ground hitting. And they have understood the mistakes that they have made, because 240 was not what the Bharatiya Janata Party was expecting, but they did get that number. So now, going forward, they have to make sure that they have in their kitty something which they can give to different people, and that's the reason why we are seeing the Prime Minister's emphasis again and again on the first 100 days.
Okay, the first 100 days is going to be that big priority. Politically speaking also, given that a strengthened opposition will be waiting for the opening of Parliament, the new dynamics will be on display as well. These initial cabinet meetings will also be important for the Modi 3.0 Sarkar to figure out the new rules of engagement before it gets into Parliament.
Well, at the moment, of course, at the cabinet meeting, Shiv, they will, of course, focus on the government's agenda, and it will become much more clearer for them in terms of how they need to approach on various contentious issues which they anticipate that the opposition will, in fact, gheraw them on during the monsoon session of Parliament, like, for instance, the Agnipath scheme as well. Various issues need, for instance, the ones who get those portfolios will have to prepare themselves for answering of these questions, because the opposition will, of course, charge at them with those very questions that the people are asking. So they will have to prepare themselves accordingly. They'll have to get their briefs from their bureaucrats and officials who effectively, are running these ministries as well before they go into this session. Politically, of course, there will be more of these huddles that will happen between, the top leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party, subsequently the first parliamentary party meeting of the BJP, which will, of course, lay out how the Prime Minister would, in fact, want his MPs to, conduct themselves in Parliament in terms of attendance, something which has been a concern, that he's reiterated about several times around as well. But what the biggest, one of the big things as far as this government is concerned, and we should be looking out for, is who gets the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry, because that person, that individual, that mantri will have to do a deft balancing act and has a lot on his plate already.
And Prahlad Joshi, who used to handle Parliament affairs, had a huge amount on his plate, in the sessions gone by, Polami, and you've been there to witness so much of it inside Parliament, getting that ringside view of how things, actually played out. One of the opposition's big allegations has been that Modi 2.0 was full of bills that were just, passed without debate. There wasn't enough debate in Parliament. Are we going to see more debate? But the immediate focus right now, I'll go back to Aishwarya, is that 100-day action plan of this government. Governance issues, getting back to work, the nuts and bolts of what the Modi 3.0 Sarkar is actually going to look like, what those priorities are. Things are going to move a little differently now. After a decade of a majority, a coalition Sarkar means, the Prime Minister is still all-powerful. He is still, Neta number one without a doubt. But there are power centers and pressure centers within the coalition now, Aishwarya, and therefore decision-making, charting out roadmaps, execution, etc., will be a slightly more mellow, perhaps measured sort of process.
Well, Well, definitely, Shiv. Let me tell you, the next 5 years will be sort of T20 in which every ball will matter, every run will count. So definitely, the Prime Minister will want to make sure that everything is spot on, because this time they cannot afford even a single mistake, and that's the reason why we are seeing this being such a closely guarded secret. Who's getting what? And that bombshell of sorts, let me tell you, Shiv, will be dropped on all the ministers right outside, right, inside that very house, the house of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because that is, Shiv, where the cabinet meeting has begun. People will be told what they will have to do. And this time, even though it's a coalition government, the BJP will want to make sure that everything is on the spot, because they cannot afford to miss even a single wicket, and every ball will now matter for them. Shiv.